sing, sing, sing. Everybody start to sing. La-dee-da, ho, ho, ho. Now you're singing with a swing. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-
Welcome to the special edition of Italics, the fourth and last in our month-long series of special programming celebrating October as Italian Heritage and Culture Month. I'm your host, Anthony Tamburri. Each October, New York State celebrates Italian heritage and culture. What began as Italian Culture Week has grown into a month-long itinerary of numerous events spanning the city, state, and country, drawing in international participants and arguably having become the largest celebration of all things Italian outside Italy. On this edition of Italics, joining us right here in our studios are Frank G. Fusaro, President, and Louis Tallarini, Chairman of the Columbus Citizens Foundation, for our annual Italian Heritage and Culture Month conversation. Correspondent Lucia Grillo will report from the red carpet of the 69th Annual Columbus Day Parade, organized by the Columbus Citizens Foundation. We'll also talk with Vincenzo Marra, President and founder of ILICA, the Italian Language Intercultural Alliance, and his daughter Ilaria Marra Rosiglioni, ILICA's Special Events Coordinator. Let's hit the red carpet and hear from Lucia Grillo.
Happy Columbus Day!
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie.
I'm Lucia Grillo with Italics. We're on the red carpet of the 69th Annual Columbus Day Parade in New York City. We'll show you some of the highlights of the parade and talk with some of the parade's distinguished guests.
Italian Americans provide a certain compassion, a certain understanding of what humans are going through and how to help people. And I have to say the response all over the city has been amazing, but particularly from Italian Americans. There's a lot of pride, and I feel such pride in my heritage today.
It's wonderful, and it's the best way to celebrate the Italian culture and the Italian heritage here on the Fifth Avenue with a lot of young people. This year there was full of young people.
My first time in New York in the Columbus Day Parade. I love it.
We are ready to march. We are so thrilled to be here. This is, we have our float with our Nostri Bambini recipients.
So we got a great float today. We're proud to be here, and we're making our members proud today.
Actually, Italian Heritage Month allows us to express not only our proud Italian heritage, but the work that we do throughout the year for our charities and for the Italian cause in general.
How are you doing today? We're loving it, great weather.
And it's just great to be Italian, and it's a beautiful day. The people come out, huge crowds today, and the idea of that Italy has supplied the world with culture, artists, scientists, everything you could imagine. We're so proud of that and humbled by it, and it is our example.
So what's the deal? We're going to have a 1-2-3 punch, Italian-American mayor, Italian-American controller, Italian-American governor?
I'm hoping. I think the people are ready for that.
This is my third year.
It's the 7th time I perform for Columbus Day.
We've been involved with this Columbus Day Parade for 30 years now, since 1984.
And we really feel very, very proud to be being Italian, being here at the parade. It really moves something inside.
Well, it feels great every year, especially great this year with this wonderful weather that we're enjoying for the largest celebration of Italian culture in the world.
I'm Lucia Grillo with Italics. We hope you enjoyed our coverage of the 69th Annual Columbus Day Parade in New York City.
Joining us in the studio is Louis Tallarini, Chairman of the Columbus Citizens Foundation, and Frank Fusaro, who is President of the Columbus Citizens Foundation. Welcome to Italics.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for the invitation.
So we're soon in the aftermath of the long weekend, the Columbus Day weekend, and just sort of let our viewers know, just sort of a brief overview of what the Columbus Citizen Foundation is.
Well, the Columbus Foundation is a membership organization, about 550 members who are linked by their Italian heritage. And our mission statement is twofold. First of all, we want to preserve the culture, protect our heritage, and recognize all the benefits we got from our parents and grandparents, the love of education, work ethic, family values, and we want to preserve them as we go from generation to generation. And the second objective of the foundation, which has come more to bear in recent years, is our philanthropic work. Our scholarship work, for the past 4 years, we've given close to $2 million to scholars of need who have the capacity but not the means to get a first-class education. We feel that's the best way to raise ethnicity. And I have to comment, we did $500,000 with the Advanced Placement Program to preserve Italian or reinstate Italian as an offering. Louis Tallarini, am I right, was very instrumental, a couple of trips to Italy with the Cuomo family to negotiate with the College Board. Italy put up $2 million, the Columbus Foundation $500,000, and National Italian American Foundation $500,000. Now that will be preserved in perpetuity as a language offering. Without that, high schools throughout the country would eliminate the AP program in Italian, eliminate the teacher, and that piece of the culture would be lost forever.
And we should say, for those who don't know, the Advanced Placement Program in high school, if you successfully pass, that is, if you get a certain grade, actually counts in college. It's college credit. So there's also a practical issue.
It goes beyond that, because that's for the honor student, but without the honor program, then the teacher likely be cut, and the and the balance of students wouldn't have the opportunity to study both Italian and the Italian culture, which we think is
in the lower classes. So that the AP, as we know, drives the Italian language instruction not only in high school, but more importantly in middle school, where the kids can develop a basic understanding of Italian and then go on to, if they have AP, of course, go on to achieve college credit, which is in some sense, it's really a monetary scholarship because they get college credit.
Right, exactly. But the other thing is it prepares them earlier. The fact that they can start so early in the public schools or in the grade schools, it prepares them earlier in college to be able to even double major in Italian, because they will have started so well prepared at such an early age. Exactly. Right. And you guys, and I will just say, as a teacher of Italian, both at the high school and the college level, thank you, because you guys are instrumental in making sure that this AP got
we're proud
back
to
up again.
Work with you, especially to get it done. Still more work to do, and we're going to keep working hard to get students to register for the course, of course.
So a couple of weekends ago, we had the parade. It was a wonderful day. 3 great honorees, 1 great Grand Marshal. How do you feel? I'm sure up to it. It's got to be nerve-wracking and things changing, but how do you feel looking back now with a little bit of distance?
It's always a labor of love, and we've done it, for so many years. It kind of Fifth Avenue is one way, so nobody gets lost. But it's a great vehicle to send our message out, to talk about our culture, our heritage, our family values, our parents. We would be nothing without their sacrifices. Everything we achieve. We are the blessed generation. Our parents were the greatest generation. 2 world wars and the Great Depression honed their lives. And basically, they educated us and said, go out on your own and make something yourself. And that was a great benefit that we had. And we talk about that during the parade. The other thing is raising money for the scholarship work. This year, we had a special program. We worked with the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund. Lou and I last year visited our honoree, General Ray Odierno, who's the Army Chief of Staff. And he told us, once we got through the preliminaries about the parade and the celebration of the weekend, he told us about a suicide rate of a person a day in the military. Over 350 suicides last year in the military, post-traumatic stress disorder. We teamed up with the wonderful organization Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund, and we gave $250,000 toward their building of 9 psychiatric centers to do what the government should be doing. Private industry, getting together, the Fisher brothers, Fisher family, very instrumental in that. Very proud of that. And we did have a great Grand Marshal, Joe Perella, and 2 great honorees, Joe Matone and Bill Frieda, Vice Chairman of Deloitte & Touche. Joe, a great real estate developer and attorney, and naturally Joe Perella, just a terrific entrepreneur and a real role model for us.
At the dinner, Joseph Perella did something a little bit different. He introduced a project in which he's involved, which is about Italian Jews being saved by non-Italian Jews in Italy during World War II, when we know the genocide was happening on a daily basis there.
Yeah, he actually met the author at a Columbus Foundation event. I think it was at one of the Columbus galas subsequently she presented her book at the Columbus Foundation. So it started internally inside the Columbus Foundation, that relationship anyway, and Joe saw the different aspects, and that story should be told. He knew the story should be told because it's not told often.
Right.
Often you hear just the other side of the coin where many attack the Italians or the Pope. Pope Pius claimed that the Italians didn't do enough, but under very difficult circumstances, indeed the Italians did step to the plate.
The book is It Happened in Italy. The author is Elizabeth Bettina.
Right.
And the film is a documentary
Yeah.
that basically was born from the book, from the
book.
interviews and the research that Elizabeth Bettina had done. Right. And I
The-
think it was
yeah.
just finished. And so it'll soon be
Distributed. The
Right.
fact was that over 80% of the Jews in Italy survived the Holocaust period, when that was just, devastating throughout the other countries. The other thing that's a little known is that Italy was the only country in Europe that accepted Jews in the 30s when Hitler first started persecuting, the Jewish people. Italy welcomed them. Italy took them in. Italy protected them. It wasn't until the end of the war, toward the end of the war, when the Germans, Nazis invaded Italy, in effect, to meet the invasion of Sicily and Salerno and so on, that they came out and, at the risk of their lives, these Italians protected the Jews. And Joe brought 8 or 9 survivors, and we had them at our foundation when Elizabeth did a book signing, and they talked about how the Italian people would harbor them. There was an issue of an Italian doctor who had kept about 25 of the Jews in a hospital. When the Germans came in to inspect the hospital, he said that was off limits. It was a contagious ward, and the Germans did not go in there. So this is a story that should be told.
I mentioned it because because of the story, number one, but because usually at events such as that, we have a certain type of speech that the honorees give, and this one instead was, we might say in Italian, we would say, impegnato, which is engagé or committed to a cause, and that was really good to see, because it's just another aspect of some of the really good things I think that come from a lot of these things that you guys do. Yeah.
We try to share not only our Italian-American culture, but Italian culture through our form, which is the Columbus Day Parade.
Exactly.
And the interaction we have with honorees. And by the way, it wasn't only Joe Perella, it was several other foundation members who I believe financially supported that effort.
The documentary.
So it was a community sort of event led by Joe. But I think originated in some part by the Columbus Foundation.
It's nice that it was born there, right? It was born, and the event it culminated this past weekend with the parade. So it's a nice result of what seemed to be an evening conversation. Yeah.
That was a story that had to be told.
Yeah.
And I think the other story, again, going back to what the Fallen Heroes Fund is doing, this was the third gift actually to the military, totaling about $1 million over the 3 gifts. Marine Corps Scholarship Fund and to the Intrepid Fallen Heroes years ago to help build a prosthesis center in San Antonio, Texas. Take care of these kids coming back that the government's not taking, enough care of. So we're proud of how we supported this country. We're proud of the heritage. We're trying to protect the heritage. We're fighting the stereotyping. We fight that through education. We think that if we educate our kids, and we make them successful, and we teach them.
You guys do more than that. You don't just tell this. You go beyond and you're more proactive, I think, precisely because of what you said, the scholarships, the AP, these sorts of things.
We are proactive.
And we can point out these stereotypes, but we need to move beyond them, I think, because otherwise they continue and nothing happens. But if we're proactive and we send the students off to college so they understand better their history, and they then come along later after us, and they can take care of
I guess it's impossible to support the Italian culture without being proactive. If we just attacked negative stereotyping, we'd just be providing publicity to these horrible shows. But our primary mission, as Frank so accurately stated earlier, is to promote Italian culture and provide scholarship. which we do, as Frank mentioned, to the tune of about $2 million a year. We, I think, have 600 or 650 active scholarship students. Aside from students we support in the Zeffirelli program, you were at the gala, you saw that wonderful gift. It was actually the third gift that was given to the foundation by Greg Wyatt. He is an endowed sculptor. His work, it's sold very seldomly on the market. His work is all over Italy. It's in the Piazza Savona. It's in the rotunda of Arlington Cemetery, the State Department of the United States. I could go on and on and on and on. But Greg is our sculptor in residence.
Right.
He teaches the students that are taught with the benefit of the Franco Zeffirelli Fund, which was initially funded when Zeffirelli was the Grand Marshal of the Columbus Day Parade in 2002, and he premiered his movie Callous Forever. And the proceeds of those fundraising efforts are set aside. That's the fourth scholarship fund at the foundation, and Wyatt's gift will be sold at a future date. Luna, the Italian moon goddess, he likes to talk about her as the counterpart to Venus. At a later date, there'll be an auction format in place, and it'll be assigned to a major auction house, and the proceeds of the sale of Luna will go into the Zeffirelli
Fund
Scholarship Fund.
He had also accompanied Lou and I to L'Aquila. We went there a year and a half ago and presented them with we raised about $250,000 and presented them with a mobile command center for the police force, what they asked for, and the balance of that gift, I think came to $265,000, was given to this Zeffirelli Fund to bring students. We had previously been bringing them from Rome to work with Greg Wyatt, but now they're going to come from L'Aquila also to come in, and the University of Town. It was a great devastation. It was a sad, sad thing. But again, there's another thing that the foundation, jumped on, and we felt, and it was so sad to see that.
It's good to keep these tragedies like L'Aquila in mind, because we get all emotional at the beginning, and then they sort of somehow fade into history. But by going back and making sure
there's not
much
we can do.
No.
Walking through the scaffolded and protected part of the city, I mean, it's like an impossible task. Matter of fact, I think the Italian government probably can't even restore it.
Right.
So what we were able to take away from this is, well, we did give them the command center, and we did allocate all the extra money to teach students in the Zeffirelli program. And Wyatt installed his portrait of an eagle. L'Aquila, right?
Yeah.
Portrait of an eagle in the town square during the same ceremony. So we have because of the again, we can't repair the buildings, but we have a friendship, we have a dialogue going two ways, and we have a cultural exchange, and we have Wyatt's portrait of an eagle that'll be there forever.
Now,
you can't retrofit those 600 and 700-year-old buildings.
They were affected as much as we were at 9/11. Natural disaster, be it as it was, but that town was devastated. But that Italian spirit, we had a ball with them. We were only there for a couple of. It was an insane 4 or 5 day trip throughout all of Italy, promoting the foundation and so on. But those people, just like New Yorkers,
happened to be the week of the police ball. Which was a riot in itself, So we got in Aquila, yeah, that was.
Attended that. But it was a great opportunity for the foundation to tie this to the Italian people. And again, it's part of what we do. But most of all, it goes back to the education. It's back to making these kids successful and branding them with this idea that they're children of immigrants. And we have that I believe in genetics. If you go to a doctor, they're going to ask you about your family history. And I think that we have amazing genes. We have the genes of people that came here with nothing, and 2 or 3 generations later were governors and senators and business leaders and so on. And that's an amazing feat in itself. These people came here with little more than the clothes on their back. There were no signs in Italian. There was no dual language in schools. You were thrown into a classroom. There was no dialed due for Italian when you picked up a phone. Right. And these people accepted the most menial jobs, and 1 generation later they sent their children off to fight this war against fascism and Nazism. And these were their most important, their blood they sent over there. Italian Americans made the largest ethnic contribution to World War II for the American side.
Right. And what this does is it keeps open a dialogue, and I think that the parade, for all the glamour and glitz and the floats and things of that sort, keeps the dialogue open, because there are a number of Italian organizations that come for the parade, and they don't just come for the parade. They come a few days before and stay a few days later, and they interact with other organizations. We have, for the last 3 years now, do an event on Friday afternoon of Columbus Day weekend with one of the Italian groups. We do something usually on immigration, and we look at some aspect of immigration. And this I think is really important, that the parade, there's this ripple effect that the parade has.
When you get down to your children and your grandchildren, you understand this intermarriage which happens. We moved out of Little Italy, we moved out of Red Hook and Brooklyn and Gravesend, and we got successful, and we're in Saddle River and we're up in Westchester and whatnot. You have to bring it back, and you have to go back. The gala is a great night to focus on that family values, and to stop and say, we would be nothing without them. And it's important, very important to us. And that, and we inherited this rich culture. We have to promulgate it. We have to let our children know. And when our children see that prejudice, they have to understand. They have to be able to react to that in a positive way and say, look what this little country the size of California did to the world, and how art, culture, science, and as I said, it's just mind-boggling.
The Columbus Day Parade is special, very special to us, but obviously it's a day that we put our best foot forward, and we can promote everything that's positive about being Italian. I'll tell you, we have a former Grand Marshal of the St. Patrick's Day Parade in our office, Bill Burke, and he was former president of Country Bank, now he's a vice chairman. And I was walking down the hall past the vice chairman's office, and he said, Louis, I have to tell you, what a wonderful job you did with that parade. I can't imagine it's so organized. I watched the whole thing, Louis.
That's wonderful.
You guys do a great job.
Well, they also stole one of our members. Frank Comerford was a former Grand Marshal of St. Patrick's Day Parade. Half Italian. Great guy. Great guy.
But you have a good pair. You have a nice, a good pair of hosts too that are on television.
Maria Bartiromo and Joe Piscopo.
Of course.
We've been so fortunate. Be in New York,
Yes.
right? Media capital of the world. Have Maria, who is the most iconic female, maybe the most iconic financial reporter ever, and of course our Saturday Night Live star Joe Piscopo, who make a great a combo up there.
They're great.
And Maria's been doing the parade with us for about 18 years. Now, when we first got her, she was just a fledgling reporter, and she had just come onto the scene. Now she became an international star. She's been to Russia. She's been all over the world. Presidents, popes, kings she's interviewed. She comes back every year. She will not give this up. And WABC did a great job with it, But Dave Davis at WABC, fabulous guy, fabulous. They did a great job. They had a helicopter, great shots of the city. We're in New York City. I was in outside of Salerno, a little town, with my brothers, having a cup of cappuccino a few years ago, and in came a parade. It was about 2 or 3 blocks long, 1 or 2 bands, and so and the people came out and they would cheer. And son, coming from New York, you get jaded to these things, and I think about, 4 or 5 hours, 3 hours on TV, police, fire, sanitation, and so on. We do it. We do it. Look, we just do it. Okay. But when you see it on TV and you get Joe and Maria, it's just, it's something we'll take. When we're in Boca del Vista Section 7, dripping oatmeal out of the side of our face, we'll remember. But most of all, we remember is what we do for these kids, and how the kids come back. And we've had several members come back who were scholarship winners that have now funded other scholarships. So it's just a tremendous feeling.
It's paying it forward. Paying it forward.
Also the reach of the publicity. We're very well publicized in Italy. I'll tell you a funny story, something that happened yesterday I didn't mention to you. But I have several offices, right? And there's one remote office that's like my main login office for the computers, right? So I arrive in New York yesterday. I can't log in. I have to go online and get the service provider that had an office in Dublin, Ireland. And the fellow answers the phone. He says, "Hello, this is Vincenzo. How can I help you?" He's a Neapolitan that he went to Dublin to get a job, spoke perfect English. I said, "Vincenzo, might I ask where are you from?" He said, "Oh, I'm from Naples." Yeah. And I said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I had to come here for a job, you know." And so we're talking. He said, "Well, where are you?" I said, "I'm in New York." Somehow we got to talking about Columbus Day. He said, "Oh, Columbus Day parade. I'm going to come sometime." I said, "Oh, you know about the Columbus?" "Oh, of course." We have this wonderful conversation. I start talking about AP Italian. He said, I want to teach Italian in New York. I haven't been there. I've only been to Boston. I know there are a lot of Irish people in Boston. There's some Italians. But I want to come to New York. And we had this wonderful conversation. Yeah. So here's a guy from Naples in Dublin working, trying to earn a living, who has a master's degree in Italian language. And was so versed about what we do in New York for Columbus Day.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah, it's a great connection from Italy to Dublin. Back, Scott, you know, it was one of the areas that a lot of our relatives went to. Actually, the people from my father's side of the family, there's a whole group of them that went to Scotland and Ireland, and they started the fishing chips.
You know, the Romans were never able to defeat the Irish.
Yeah.
So now
exactly.
We're invading them.
Well, let us end it on that wonderful international note of fame for the Columbus Day Parade. And let me thank you for coming, and we'll be seeing you soon.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you
for having us.
Joining us in our studios are Vincenzo Marra and Ilaria Marra Rosiglioni of ILICA. Welcome to Italics.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.
So my first question is, why ILICA? ILICA was founded in 2004, and we should say also what ILICA stands for. So why ILICA when there are already other cultural organizations or Italian-American organizations?
Italian Language Intercultural Alliance comes from a long experience with NIAF and Sons of Italy and all the brothers from previous immigration, who in our opinion have created a new culture, and we have to recognize that as such. So my long involvement brought me to think that the important thing for a culture or for an ethnic group that claim to be either Chinese, and you see they talk Chinese, or Jewish, they talk Irish, and German, so forth, they all speak the language. What I found in that 30 years involvement was a lack of knowledge of the Italian language. So that is could be a problem on the evolvement, on flight to the future of a culture. That's why
exactly. Flight to the future is in fact ILICA's motto. And flight to the future obviously also implies the new generation, the younger generation. Of course, we're here with Ilaria, who is your daughter, and who is also involved full-time in ILICA. Talk more about that notion of flight to the future.
Well, number one, I'm very proud that my daughter, a graduate of Georgetown University, has decided free to join us in this mission. The flight to the future is a very simple phrase defining what every ethnic group in America should do. In other words, we came to a free country. We all have received the gift of opportunity. We all took advantage of it. And, you know, every single group has created a beautiful image within this mosaic of freedom. Now, At this point, we are seeing a lot of young people coming from Italy, immigrating with different motivation, with different goals. In other words, the revolution of informatics and communications has evolved in 30 years versus the Industrial Revolution, it was 200 years. So at such a speed, we can't possibly think to get these people involved on celebrating the past. We must give them the gift of understanding what we stood for. But at the same time, we got to understand what they stand for. Otherwise, we lose it.
And let's pose that question to you, Ilaria. You grew up with your dad involved in NIAF, the National Italian American Foundation, and Order Sons of Italy, and now here you are intimately involved with ILICA, which has this emphasis on the flight to the future and the younger generation. What differences do you perceive between then and now? And what is your own experience being in college, not too long ago, but long enough to see sort of the difference?
Well, I think that one thing for certain that stays the same is the enthusiasm that the youth has, and I think that that was really kind of the idea that we wanted to capture. The idea of flight to the future came from the idea of the flight of Italy's best minds all around the globe. And I guess that really is the essence that we wanted to capture. We wanted to capture the energy, the intelligence, and the enthusiasm of Italy's greatest creative minds. And so rather than take it as a negative, they're fleeing, they're running away. Okay, but we're all running away together towards the future. So the idea was basically to harness the energy and the creativity that the youth embodies, really.
and your title is Special Events Coordinator. However, you have become sort of de facto ILICA's official translator. And we'll get to that in a bit, what you translated, but you have in fact translated 3 books already for ILICA.
Yes, indeed. It's something that I really kind of fell into quite naturally, because it's something that I've really done my whole life. So I've always been in a constant state of translating things because I was always on a plane. So I always found myself having to adjust to Italy and to adjust to the United States, and so everything, it was just kind of really very natural.
Vincenzo, in fact, let's talk about that. One of the major, we'll get to the conference in a bit, but let's stay a little bit with the books. You've sponsored 3 translations, 3 publications. The first one being Pino Aprile's bestseller in Italy, Terroni, and obviously the second choice was Polentoni, and now we have a third book, which you actually have in your hand, Italy at the Crossroads, by Gianfranco Viesti. We should say that 2 of these 3 are from the south, whereas 1 is from the north. Why Terroni?
See, Terroni, I was in Rome when Terroni was introduced, a Calandra. So on streaming, I started to watch, to look from midnight to 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was so impressed by this book and the presentation. Basically, it was enlightening me, opened my mind to something that I never thought. In other words, Italy had a civil war. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not true, but certainly I want to be informed about this civil war. So Terroni was a revelation. Then I met Pino Aprile, always thanks to Calandra, I met Pino Aprile. And I start to go, since he lives in Rome, go out for together, we had dinner together, we became friends with the family, and I understood the great sense of pride of a man from the South trying to tell the world we were not people who stunk. We were not people under race. We were Italy. And then he trying to prove this over and over and over. And then you said before in the presentation, the second one as a second choice. But I spoke with Lorenzo De Bocca yesterday on the phone, and he wrote recently another book, Italia Bugiarda, which he considered his best work. And again, he goes on the same line of Tallarini. That's why I say, well, if that was a revelation for me, it should be a revelation for 90% of the Italian immigration in the United States. They should stop saying we were poor, we were rejected, we were discriminated. No, you were people of noble, very noble birth. And something happened by which geographically or politically or socially we're not describing all of this. We're just saying you were put together with other people, and the process is still going on. And since, we discovered this around the 150th anniversary of Italy, we thought it was good to put together one from the north, one writer from the north, one from the south, and let them tell to America, why they both arrived to the same conclusion that Italy is still in formation. So then we opened the debate for the Flight to the Future.
ILICA, in fact, has a major annual event. ILICA Che, play on words, cultural event, but also there is, ILICA is,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
There's the play on words. And this year's theme is the event that's going to take place in a week or so. This year's theme is
Italians and America searching for culture.
In all the right places.
In all the right
searching for culture in all the right places, Italian in America. Before we go on, let me ask you actually lived these two cultures, actually even more than perhaps your mom and dad. What's your experience coming back and forth?
I think that the best thing was the fact that I was practically born on a plane. So I think that I was very lucky to live everything, very seamlessly. I had a family on both sides, and it was a great experience. I was very lucky.
As I mentioned, you are ILICA's official translator at this point. You've translated 3 books, Terroni, Polentoni, and now Italy at the Crossroads by Gianfranco Viesti. What were some of the challenges? These are 3 totally different books.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're 3 totally different styles, aren't they?
Yes, they are. I think that what I found was the greatest challenge is probably with Terroni is to convey accurately as I could the emotion, because that is one thing that I think probably characterizes all 3 of the authors. But I think that it was particularly evident in Terroni. It was just the anger and the way that the anger just was able to just flow through the words and everything, and to capture that, I think was really my greatest challenge. So I hope I did a good job.
No, I think you did. We've gotten some very nice comments about the translation, and just about everyone has said has complimented you on not only facing the challenge, but actually succeeding with that challenge, because Pino's Italian is, in fact, it's very Italian, sort of old school and convoluted. Exactly.
It's florid language. It's
it's the Italian that our generation studied and learned to write in elementary school and junior high school. So, but getting back now to the event next week in Searching for Culture in All the Right Places, Thursday night, Thursday late afternoon, early evening, there'll be a conference. The usual suspects of the last 3 or 4 events, and they are?
Well, from Italy, Pino Aprile, Del Boca, Gianfranco Viesti, Massimo Vedovelli, and Monica Barni. They will be all here. And of course, Beppe Novero from Mediaset. And in this part of the world, we have Ermelino, Luis Ermelino, Viesti, Viscusi, Ermelino, Donna Chirico, and Frank Garadafe. How can you forget? Of course, we have the greatest moderator. We know we're speaking now. Now, you know what is important?
Yeah.
We are not creating controversy. We are just trying to have our friend thinking. Now, we decide to go in the academic world and have people who know to speak for us, rather than go back on the rhetoric. which is understood by everybody, of course. But can we deliver now a new way of thinking? Can you deliver a new motivation for young people to come in? Now that is the key. It's not important just to bring young people in at a certain age and say, we got the young people. No, the young people have to be within and understand both sides, and then bring their messages, and then get together around the table and express their opinion, come to a conclusion. Again, the moment of aggregation is not only important but necessary. Otherwise, we lose our identity completely. But from there, we must create programs of this kind and give credit to those that commonly believe don't make money, where we believe that investing in culture, and that's another Italian tradition, the Medici told us, invest the money now. Maybe you make the money in the next 200 years, but you never die.
I wanted to ask about founding ILICA, what some of the challenges were, because as I mentioned at the outset, as I asked why ILICA, there were already other organizations. And in fact, there are other organizations, yet in 2004, you had decided to found ILICA, and here we are 9 years later. So obviously something went right. But what were some of the challenges at the beginning?
At the beginning, it was too easy. Right after, we had to analyze and understanding. We have learned so much from the famous IEA conference in Washington that cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars. Room, board, and lodge for 100 professors to make sure that Italy was really represented, 500 people for dinner, 5 chefs from Italy. I can go on and on and on. And then I realized that nobody followed up. I didn't go and fight. I tried to understand what happened. Then I realized the law in Italy is so complicated about education. I said, oh my God, I anticipated the time. So sometimes when you want to do more than what is expected, slow down, and that's what we're trying to do, slow down.
And before we leave, let's let our viewers know about next week. Next week is the 9th ILICA CE. It is at John Jay College on Thursday.
The Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer, John Jay, Robert Pignatello, will be our man. And I want to make sure that we've done that after we negotiate everything. He didn't know. No, that's our style.
Right.
We pay first, and then we talk. So he was very impressed by our conference last year, and we will repeat the conference Thursday night now. Anybody who's interested, the Thursday night, the 7th, Thursday afternoon, we'll say, 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Please come. It's free. And we call back Andrea Tiberi, Chef Andrea Tiberi, with other chefs from Italy, to cater a wonderful reception within John Jay. Okay? Free. Everything is free. The next night, unfortunately, the seat is limited. At the John Jay, we will have the dinner. So, again, we are proud to have reached this. We want to thank CUNY, take this opportunity for allowing us and give us credibility to have this major event within CUNY. We are really, and we're not emphasized because of you, anybody. No, we are selling this in Italy and saying, look. And that's why so many big brains are coming back in. They're becoming friends. They're becoming a very strong hold and support of the ILICA to fly to the future. But let's not forget, these are the senator. And the player have to be in the 20s, 30s, some of the 40s.
One final note, the latest publication, as we said before, Gianfranco Viesti and Ilaria. In a nutshell, it deals with basically problems in Italy on the brink of economic disaster. Some of the remedies work. The word he uses is work.
Fortunately, he proposes the solutions, and absolutely, and work, youth, and women.
Precisely, right. And that's one of the novel things of this book, is that he's dealing both with youth and with women, and the whole idea of unemployment.
Mm-hmm. As is the answers, indeed.
Well, we're going to hear more from Gianfranco Viesti and others next week.
Next week, yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to thank you two for coming.
Before leaving,
yes,
can we send our thanks to the board of directors of ILICA? I mean, heroes. And overall, our mama, she couldn't come today because when she works until midnight, she started the next day. You too go.
Right, Susie is in fact one of the three.
Not the entire board.
One of the three legs of this tripod that is ILICA.
They are heroes.
Yes.
They are heroes.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Good. Well, thank you. Thank you for
for
coming.
having us.
We are here tonight for the celebration of our State Comptroller's recognition of Italian Heritage and Culture Month.
So glad that once again St. John's will host us. Joe Sciammi, former National President of Sons of Italy, has been a great friend to us, Vice President here at St. John's, and he always makes it easy for us to do this event. And we have great musical performances as well. So it's going to be a fun night of celebration and some food, of course, as well. And so it's a nice event for all of us.
As an Italian American, I'm smelling the garlic and going, I can't wait.
I feel like we're home on Sunday afternoon or something.
Tom DiNapoli is one of my favorite friends, and he is a brother, but the hospitality we extend is really the spirit of St. John's. Our motto on the buildings out in Queens especially says ministrare non ministrari, meaning to serve and not be served. And so in a way we are cooperating with the Comptroller in this wonderful annual celebration of Italian heritage and culture.
I appreciate that it's become a tradition and that we have many community leaders who always ask when are we going to do it again, and want to make sure that we continue to do it. It's certainly an opportunity in the context of Columbus Day celebrations and October being the month to celebrate Italian heritage and culture, to recognize those individuals in the Italian American community who stand out in terms of their leadership, their contributions. So it's really a personal way to say thank you to the Italian Americans of today who are continuing to contribute to the great success of our city, our state, and our nation. So it's a time of year and an event I always look forward to.
And this gives to me the opportunity to recall the importance of supporting all the programs in favor of the Italian language, which ensure not only that our language will continue to be part of the AP program, but also that Italian will be available to all those, and they are many, who wish to study as well to speak Italian.
Today, of course, what's happening with the second and third generation and fourth generation, they're beginning to feel less and less Italian. That is a crisis for us. But nevertheless, what we have to do is always be active in promoting our culture, our heritage, and to awaken them. We will not be able to convince 100%, but maybe 20%. It'd be nice. And Italian Americans, we have those problems. So now, when we go into class, we find that my students are from all over the world. It's not anymore. When I began teaching 40 years ago, 30 years at Westchester, I began teaching in 1971. In my class, we had, I would say, about 75% Italian Americans and 25% mixed. Now it's the other way around. 75 is mixed and 25% Italian Americans. So it's interesting to see this, where now Italian is appealing to non-Italians. They begin to appreciate the language and the culture, and they love it. They like to travel. They like to go to Italy. They like to see the great work of arts, and so on and on. So with the Italians, unfortunately, as we're going into the second and third and fourth, they feel less and less this kind of pride in their heritage, or they forget their heritage. It's dramatic for us, but nevertheless, we cannot surrender. We have to keep on going, and we have to keep on promoting the language and the culture for the benefit of everybody, so that the world can enjoy this beautiful language.
We need to be proactive in reminding everyone what the positive contributions are of Italian Americans. There's still, from my point of view, too much in the media that's projected in a negative way or in a stereotype way. And the Italian American community, just like every other ethnic and racial community in our great city and state, contributes to what America is all about. And I certainly think that this celebration is a way for us to just remind everyone what the Italian Americans are doing today. You look at the kind of honorees that we have, people who excelled in education, in the arts, in labor, in business, with our fraternal organizations. You know, we have wonderful honorees this year, as we've had other years. Professor Carlos Sclafani, who's so well known for his great work in Westchester in the field of higher education. Tony LoBianco, great actor and really someone who continues to inspire us. His so many performances, and his one-man show on Fiorello LaGuardia is just a joy to watch. Tom and Barbara Lupo, immediate past president and first lady of Sons of Italy here in New York State. They've done so much through the Sons of Italy to keep that organization strong and to give back to the community. And Julie Bastiani, head of the Italian American Labor Council.
It's a great honor. It's a great privilege to receive it from a great gentleman who is number one in our Italian American community, the Honorable Di Napoli. You know, we are very proud of him because he's one of the highest officers, and he's a model, an inspiration to all of us. So it's to be recognized by him, it's really special.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Italics, our fourth and final 2013 Italian Heritage and Culture Month special. Join us next month as we continue our regular monthly programming. View this and previous editions of Italics at cuny.tv/show/Italics. I'm Anthony Tamburri. Arrivederci alla prossima puntata.
We'll leave you with some more highlights of this year's parade. Ciao! Ciao!
Sing, 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 sing. Everybody start to sing. La-di-da, ho, ho, ho. Now you're singing with a swing. Singing with a swing. Do